Chapter 1, Texas County, Oklahoma, 1960. The throb of angry rain suddenly became gentle, forgiving the people. Then a merciful act of God, a patch of fresco blue revealed itself from an edgy crack of thin thunderclouds. Though she had never seen church paintings, this seraphic blue reminded Miriam of them. Maybe there are none here, she thought. The place where she lived was too outlying, too agrarian to have one religious icon. Miriam, although she had grown up all her life in this place of no significance other than for raising hogs, could appreciate this special blue. She imagined a dress of blue, then pumps, a hat, and a matching basket bag. It all came naturally to her. Miriam had an instinct for fashion as she had dressed up her doll from a young age. Beautiful things in a girly style were her passion, although her family could not provide those sorts of luxuries. So she carried out this fascination with fashion wholeheartedly in her imagination. She stood at a small outdoor bus depot, a shabby wooden structure in the middle of nothing, where the only things apparent were brown mud roads and remnants of rickety wood platforms across the street that had been used only during the Halloween pumpkin sales. Miriam, a 17-year-old beauty, looked at the silhouette of faraway mountains. The outline of the mountain range seemed to possessively surround and trap the entire simplicity of this remote little pastoral town and the people living here, including Miriam. It knowingly severed the life inside from the rest of the world. Nature must be kind-hearted but not poisonous, Miriam tried to convince herself. Yet to Miriam, its nothingness and vastness seemed intentionally dictatorial and hypocritically righteous. In the past, when her uncle took her to Tulsa, the second largest city in Oklahoma, almost 400 miles away, Miriam had seen white pavement markings, but she didn't remember where the white markings on the road started, how far out from where she lived. Opportunity to find the answer had finally arrived. She was going to New York. Although New York had not been a reality, she was already in love with its snazziness, imagining herself shopping, strolling, and giggling with friends along a trendy street. It was 6:30. He was already 30 minutes late. He was Henry, a 20-year-old Adonis with a quarter of Indian blood. They were about to elope. Me and Henry, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, will be together forever, Miriam thought. Monumental as it was, Miriam was set in her path, devoid of hesitation and nostalgia. They were in love. By then, the last rays of sun before dusk added more humidity into the already clammy air. The windshield wipers on the sheriff's car moved, clearing remaining water drizzling down from the roof. It drove by in front of the bus depot once, returned shortly after, and stopped in front of Miriam. A middle-aged female officer stepped out, leaving a young male officer in the driver's seat. Are you Miss Burke? Miss Miriam Burke? Miriam immediately knew that their plan to elope was put on hold, at least for the time being. Must be Phoebe, she thought. Phoebe was her younger sister by 14 months. She's always jealous of me. She must have told Mom and Dad on me. I should have never said anything to her. Miss, aren't you one of the Burke's girls? Your parents are worried about you. I'm an adult. Not yet, hun. You're still 17, remember? Now come with me, said the officer, extending her hand. Although their grand plan was interrupted, being escorted into a sheriff's car seemed a worthwhile experience to Miriam. This upgrades my standing as a free-spirited individualist who meets the status of a future wife of Henry, she thought. Henry, a vegan since 14, had been fighting for some issues. She didn't fully understand his issues, but his principle was, to Miriam, without any doubt, ethically correct all the way. Other than Miriam, however, people in the town saw him as an utter weirdo. The female officer sat next to Miriam in the back seat. The radio kept making a buzzing noise. The male officer in the driver's seat picked up the receiver and spoke into it. Ready to leave the location, over. The reception was bad, making the voice of the person on the other end nothing more than a static sound, perhaps due to the heavy rainstorm with lightning. As the car cruised around the town, approaching the newly built hog farm, Miriam noticed the street was unusually mobbed with people, and the farm compound was closed off by several fire engines and police cars emitting flashing red lights. The commotion outside was something that the town had never seen. Miriam curiously looked back at the mayhem through the rear window. Take a river out, Bob, the female officer instructed her partner. She placed her hand on top of Miriam's and said, You'll be all right. Her hand was large and masculine, but warm and comforting to Miriam.